Hi, everybody. This isn't a real meeting. Workshop. It's noticed as a meeting, but it's a workshop. So we're gonna call the workshop to order. Call the workshop to order. I did that. Properly noticed and verified, right?
Yes, sir.
I knew you guys did it. And we're going to, change our agenda. But I needed a motion to adopt the agenda with changes. Did you do that? I didn't. Okay. Second, let me second that. I'll second. Okay. The changes are gonna be, before we get to the action items, we're gonna hear from Sheriff Blackman. And we also are going to, I understand, at the request of CTD, remove item H. Yes. All those in favor of that? For discussion. Aye. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you've heard something happened in Osceola County and we lost our sheriff. Just kind of went away. We know where, you don't want to get into detail. Well, we know where, okay, we know where he was.
Are you saying there's a new sheriff in town?
There's a new sheriff in town. Very good, Donald. Sheriff Blackman is with us this evening to kind of, introduce himself and, after he's done, brief questions. We don't want to go too long because we got a meeting, but some brief questions. Sheriff Blackman, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for the invitation. As he says, there is a new sheriff in town. That happened June 5th. I think you all know what happened. So Governor DeSantis appointed me the same day. So just for reference for me, it happened in less than 48 hours.
Oh, jeez.
So I had no idea this was going to happen. No prior knowledge. I knew there was stuff cooking in Osceola County. I was former sheriff. I knew some details, but not the details of what it ended up being again. So I get the call on a Tuesday. Actually, I got text message and text message that not party lived in Osceola County from my house. I was in the South Lake, so I said 20 to 25 minutes from the Four Corners area. Depending on Central Florida traffic, I think 4 hours. But I spent 45 minutes in Kissimmee proper. And the response I got back was okay. And he could have left me unread at that point. Like, forgive me. Okay. So I waited 3 hours, waited for a response. Nothing, so I sent a text message. He responds back, well, I'll give you a call. Phone rings immediately. And he says, we're getting ready to arrest the sheriff on suit. And I said, okay, quickly, as the chief of the highway patrol and state troopers, I thought, we're gonna sit at the meeting with the city of the sheriff's office. We're gonna take a full brief. Anybody's in the military, a lot more experience, you know what I'm talking about. There'll be a full brief, we're gonna office plan together, we're gonna go in, we'll do business. I thought we would go in, sees IT, probably sees some other stuff to make sure that I'm locked down. I wasn't sure what the full parameters were gonna be. Gonna take over, boy, I missed that, and I was swinging this. He said, I'd like to put your name on the hat, you can share it across the country. And I said, oh, you know, what? He said, I'd like to put your name on and you share across the. So I said, you know what, that's a we decision, not a me decision. I got to run talk my wife. So I can't call him on some fair, we need to talk one-on-one. Now, mind you, my wife is a retired captain in the Orange County Sheriff's Office. She worked there 30 years. She ran everything there that you can think of the sheriff's office. At one time in her tenure, she was the staff director for Sheriff Jerry Benson for 2.5 years. So when I got home to talk to her, I was ready to talk to you. And of course, it's 1:30 in the afternoon, and she's like, why are you home? You need to talk. She's like, of course, I didn't think of the mom thing, what she's thinking,
Right.
family issues and potential problems. And she said, well, you tell me now. I said, let's go in the room. My youngest daughter and her 2 kids, our grandkids, live with her husband. I said, I don't want to talk in front of them. She still thinks it's something bad. So I'm running, she goes, hurry, you can tell me. I'm like, okay. My boss told me he wants to put my name in that in the Osceola County Sheriff. Oh my God, that's it? I'm like, yeah, that's it. So anyway, good for that. We discussed it for quite some time. She's like, what do you want to do? So it took me 42 minutes to drive here. That's the entire time I talked about this position. 42 minutes. I said, I'm ready to do what? If I don't put my name in the hat, I think they're going to never get to call again, put your name in the hat. So I said, I think we need to put my name in the hat. Famous last words, don't worry about it, I'm picking anyway. So she said, well, I think what you're saying is correct, let's put your name in the hat. So I texted him that and he said, okay, I'm in. What's next? He said, I'll be in touch. 24 hours, nothing. Wednesday is 2, I texted again. What's going on? I said, did you fire this where you thought about hiring? And he said, I'll call you. He called me real quick. Go ahead, what's up to him? I don't like to take a switch you. They called me and said, to be seriously interviewed with the governor's office. They'll be calling, sorties, you know, when you call, they call, make sure you answer. So I did. 2:30 interview. 5:30, we're returning my shirt to polls. My grandson is fine with 7 in the car with us. So when they called and started the interview, I say, so we had 6 people here on the panel to interview. Full disclosure, if who's listening on speakerphone, that's fine. I said, full disclosure on my end, my wife's in the car with me and my 17-month-old grandson in the back seat. So in this particular instance, to hear somebody screaming on fire, it's not me. So they did their questions, got done, and said, Molly said, we'll be in touch. I get texted, okay, you made the cut from the 10 people we put, we're in the list for 3. Man, you're playing nice. So 8:30ish, phone rings, answered. It was really easy. I knew most of the people who the governor's office was there. And they introduced themselves, and obviously the last person on the call was the governor, which kind of freaked me out a little bit. I mean, I've been around a bunch, working all my life, but still, to know that you got to be governor so far, on the call, listen, but I don't know what to say. Was like what I said earlier, we're going to attend. So the interview get done, and the last word will be in touch. Well, 1-3, so see what happens. 7:05, the phone rings. My boss is that Wednesday night. He said, "Wait." That's a little kid. Don said he played the dog and threw around. Master and total community religion. So we knew he was Don Sutton, not the Dodger, but just Don. And we knew his mom was Miss Sutton. So they did ready to watch the dog play the community, so I'm gonna go play. He said, I think it's sure, because now you're gonna be shit. Ain't too long, you got to stay at court. 5% chance it's not, all I can know, I'm probably not gonna do it. So I'll talk to you in the morning. He said, hey, what are you doing tomorrow? I'll be in Tampa speaking, the DOT meeting, DOT works in Highway Patrol and Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office and the Attorney General. He said, well, I need you to stay home. I'll get somebody else. So I did. Thursday morning, the day of the event, phone ring, 8:49 in the morning. I answered all my colleagues in, good morning, boss, good afternoon, boss, and good morning, boss. The response was, well, good morning, sir. Oh, that's not down there. So like my wife and I talked about at the very beginning, we simply just said, and sometimes I say this, we're religious, we go attend our church, we do a lot of stuff in our faith community. And I said to her, listen, let's just pray about it. And what I mean by that is something that's very, very simple prayer that repeated Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday morning. This is that we ask God what your will that we have. Period. And I never asked to be sure, didn't ask in prayer to be made sure. Just said, God, that's where you need to be, place me. So I kind of, it made it a little corny, but I've heard the phrase after I told the story so many times. It was appointed by the governor. I believe it was anointed by the governor. And why I say that is there's a guy that worked at the Highway Patrol barracks with me. We hired him because the former sheriff had fired him when he took over. And I talked to this gentleman for 3 years, and he told me stuff that was happening in the sheriff's office. And I often wondered, why is he telling me? I don't live in Osceola. I don't work in Osceola. I don't even have any business or affiliation. I don't even need an Osceola, nothing. Why is he telling me? I guess for 3 years he was kind of prepping for what's about to happen. I was not smart enough to figure out what's about to happen. So anyway, go in that day, take over the sheriff's office, and then the rest is history. So with that said, is your sheriff's office in the county? I condemn it as if we're going to protect the quality of life we serve as the United States, not to be threat, fear, of criminals. They're out there, and our job is the sheriff's office. And even through, I can even back to the FHP, we get the assistance we need for certain things. Criminal elements out there, and they prey upon children, which I said when I first took over. My focus is kids and elderly. Why did I pick the two? The first group is super vulnerable because they're kids. They're innocent, supposed to be. But there are people out there that want to be in nefarious acts and children. On the flip side, you have your senior citizens that same thing. They can come to be heartstrings and try to get your money. Send you a link, if you didn't pay your toll with it. I promise you, you will never, ever, ever be able to receive a bill or a link on your phone that's legitimate to pay your toll. FDOT runs all that, it comes to Turnpike Enterprise, the Expressway Authority, and send it on, open it out. Why do I have to pay that? My daughter on yesterday. She said it's right, stolen, she had to put the new card on them. When your account runs down to zero or whatever, they start bill by play. They send you an actual invoice in the mail. And if you haven't changed your address under DL, what's gonna happen if you go to redeem your card tab and you need your card? So just say you get $40 and they sold it because you move and didn't report your address or the mail was lost, whatever, you aren't properly notified. When you go to get your card tag, get paid, you stand in line for 4 hours to DMV, get your card tag, you're gonna get it there, and you're gonna leave back and say, hey, sorry, Mr. and Miss Smith. There's unpaid tolls on your debt and they can't take the money. You gotta go back home, log into whichever system with your debt, the credit paid there. Then 12:01 a.m. the next morning, your name is removed. So anyway, back to being your sheriff. My goal is to protect our community. Period. We're gonna work with, I said when I came out, I came from the executives. And honestly, when I roll out of here, whenever that is, I'm gonna leave with it. We've had to arrest now 6 deputies. Once I took over, we had let go additional 12 employees for ethical behavior. I will tell you this, though, the ones that we did get rid of the 18 total, nobody was in the criminal part like what the sheriff was in. This is all separately discovered. So there's an internal affairs section we have the sheriff's office. Come to find out, basically, it was going in there, doing nothing. Just getting, you call it a complaint, very legitimate, could be. They file it right up, put some file. You know, everything else. You call that some investigation. They know everything wrong. We're just sitting. So when I went in, I said, since he took over as sheriff, the first term, I want every internal affairs case from that day until the day I took over reviewed. And I need to know what you find. And that's when they brought us stuff. And that's when we ended up with less than 60.
Wow.
And I told the staff through many meetings we had, and I told the deputies in their briefings, which is a tedious roll call, a line out of a briefing before their shift. They do it. They work 2 days. For example, if they work Monday, Tuesday, they brief on Monday morning at 5:45 a.m. or 5:45 p.m. They work 12-hour shift. So I'm going to brief them on what my expectations were this year and what we're going to do. I told them nobody, I don't care who you are, nobody's above the law. I don't care how much money you got, I don't care where you live, I don't care what you do. The law is the law, I'm going to enforce it. I say that, so we had the arrest on a felony charge once. And it got back to me, the question was, how can you arrest you for one felony? And I said, okay, which other one do you want me to ignore? We're not going to ignore the law. It's misdemeanor felony, we're going to make our appropriate charges. If we think it's criminal, we're going to write it up, get the state attorney, and consult with them so we can do it. We're not going to put up with the garbage sheriff's office. My job is to return the integrity and ethics back to the sheriff's office. According to internally, when I'm hearing from our deputies and staff, and even externally from a lot of the politicians locally in our community, that's happening. And we're going to flip it around in a few weeks. But when you come to the state patrol, you've been there for 35 years, we have a lot of integrity ethics on our patrol. But it's brought that to the sheriff's office. That's my mission. I was asked by the governor, do you plan to run for sheriff? And I said, you have to have an answer. Well, I like one. I said, well, yes, with an answer. He said, what does that mean? I said, well, yes, I would probably like to, but I need to know what I'm getting into when I go in, because I'm sure that I was outside coming in. I had 2 people that worked there that I knew that at 900. So this could be a shark tank. I said, well, I'll take their shark tank. I'm not sure. But it's been received well. It's actually something they've sought. A lot of the people there were ashamed of, I would say, off the last at least 4.5 years, what was going on and other issues. But they were upset with what was happening there. And I just told them we would restore the integrity to the sheriff's office. If you've heard me on TV or at any point in time talking about the sheriff's office, my mission to get to the community is you don't have a bad sheriff's office. You have a bad person. And he's gone. And the governor's office makes sure of that. But the case is investigated by Homeland Security that field. I've read the entire report. You've only seen what the news media wants to do. It's true, but it's worse. So the case is going bad for him. However, there was no other stuff in the sheriff's office permeated down through the agency. It's just within his little conflict. He had his own little parallel group he was running to the side, which was some of the employees. They were not criminally indicted, they had nothing on criminally. But there was other stuff I found with them after. I took over that we found and was ignored because he was in the, I call it the waste of the fraternity. And he was protecting, but we took care of that and arrested two of them. It was running, again, nothing tied to the RICO and the gang. But again, my job is to protect this community and we will at all costs. We just had a budget approved by the county. First one for me, we had to come in like really quick and assign your numbers and work with them. It went well. We did well. And we got a lot of good men and women that work there. They're in the one, we had a lot of good men and women that are civilian staff. And for me, that's the really keeps the place together. Because they run the day-to-day operation of all the administrative stuff, which is a ton. We have a thing called the Citizen Academy. If you're ever bored, you want to learn more about your sheriff's office, sign up and come to it. It's 12 weeks. It's like 1 week. It's every Tuesday, 12 weeks. And it'll show you the inside workings of the sheriff's office. Because if you've never been in law enforcement, you have no idea. But if you were to come in and see what we do, they will show you what we do in forensics, canine, aviation, our school resource, SWAT, high risk incident, ag marine, even our courthouse, road patrol, CID, which is Criminal Investigation Division. And there's a thing called ICAC. That is the Internet Crimes Against Children. The cool thing about that for me is we are the flagship agency, Osceola County Sheriff's Office, the entire state of Florida. So I just signed 80 MOUs, memorandum of understanding, which is kind of a joint agreement between us and other agencies that they work under our grant, but they report all this tax acts. And that is on the internet, looking for these predators that are trying to get these kids. I just thought on about whatever, you don't hear all that garbage. Anybody got any questions or anything you can think of? First?
Gary Husko, thank you for coming tonight.
Yes, sir.
This may be relatively minor in the big picture, and I don't expect an answer tonight. But as a community, one of the things that we're concerned about is the proliferation of motorized vehicles on sidewalks. So there's several laws, rules, and regulations, and we've asked the sheriff's office to sort of condense it into sort of something that we can utilize and something you can use. So I encourage you to please come back, feedback. We need to decipher all the different regulations about.
I know, address it on here, don't forget that.
Well, it's not just me,
No.
it's this board behind you.
You tell me your question.
Yeah.
I'll give it a threat. I can tell you no motorized units on sidewalks are legal. Was the traffic stop for 35 years, I can't know that. That's supposed to be on the roadway, supposed to be in a designated lane, not right on the sidewalk. A sidewalk is a side, what's the last one? It's a wall.
But bicycles, even though they're e-bikes, should not be on the sidewalk?
Nothing. Bicycles by statute, not supposed to be on the sidewalk. If it's a designated lane, it's there, it's not the roadway. But when you start getting that, it's kind of weird for people, the only time to do it. You ride a bicycle, come up to the intersection by statute, they're supposed to be awful by walking across the intersection, jumping back on. I know it's at any rate for law, nobody does it. If they do it, then it's an anomaly. You would see that the motorized vehicles are not supposed to be on sidewalk unless your HOA or your development gives them permission to do that.
No.
Any other questions?
Yes.
So on and off for the past, pretty much for the past 3 years, we have not had regular patrols in our community. We've hired private securities from many of the government organizations and the homeowners. Can you address that, or can you list some information about really become one of our priorities?
Somebody mentioned to me at the sheriff's office, we had 70 every Monday morning at 10. Somewhere in celebration, everyone playing the deputy back was here before. We're here, Jerry, Wyland.
Yeah.
Let's hire a quick pay down, $100,000.
It's a lot more than that. Now,
I saw him at the courthouse going on jury duty.
Yeah.
Good guy.
it's a lot more than $100,000. If they really run the numbers to see, because you got salary.
This was a long time ago.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I'm trying to get a ticket shop, like one time in car, we walked in, that was 40 grand 3 years ago, and that's it. They were gonna run the numbers for me in my finance section.
But I mean, do we have to hire specific, I mean, I'm just, as a community, we're going to be able to.
I just asked him, I said, there, the guy that's not my one church in school right here on the left. He's right, I know he's here. I don't have any, it's rolling through here, but it's, you're part of our patrol area. I have to talk to the patrol major and see what's going on, why I'm not here. I can tell you a lot of our calls for service, and look at our heat map where we're at, it's not in here. Which is a good thing. The great thing is that means I'm not saying I'm the prime, but if you are so low, which you're good, our actual prime is more towards the fourth quarter area. Also, the county west, some of you know, there's hiding there, so we get the research, but Airbnb and VRBO, the collection that's in Osceola County is the largest in the world.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
The largest in the world is right here. And it's over 40,000 residents signed under VRBO Airbnb, which is basically the house of hotel and leave. But, no, I will. You can't do that, you know, think about the regular patrol. I'm telling you, they will get.
Any other questions?
My phone's blowing up and I can feel my body already vibrating. Anybody, anything else? Feel free. If I can't answer, I'll answer. I'm not all this.
Are we ever gonna have the subdivision substation that they talked about? That, supposedly the county bought the old Publix building on International?
They're not doing that because it's, I know the county, not that we didn't want there, but I know the county manager. And the cost to put us there is too much. So that's what I was told, is they're gonna sell the property. And then they're gonna take the funds from selling the property and build us a west side substation. Down in Point San Boulevard, not way south, but there's a fire station there now. They're gonna build it. They own 19 acres they've had for 35 years. I was told that's where they want to put the building, put it on the side of the county. We're splitting shared property with fire. Anything else?
Chair Blackman, thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, if you think this sheriff's office, or I gave you my email, I think somebody in the group's probably got my email or whatever,
We do.
let us know. We're here to help. We're your sheriff's office. If I would say that when you ask another patrol, it's a good thing. Not trying to deflect it, it's a good thing we're not here. Right. So time to make it live in a better place. I did get it to be nice to see sheriff's office people going through every now and then. They did mention that they got linemen in the position. That's something we'll look at, let us present that to whoever from Celebration requested that. Can tell you the cost, it's not cheap. For one person, you got salary benefits, the car, maintenance on the car, it's, I'm gonna guess probably 200,000 per month. Just take it. Don't hold to it. Just get it. We'll give you better than
That's a lot of mulch, just a lot of mulch. Yeah.
nothing.
Thanks, Sheriff. Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Just one thing, you said it was not legal to ride a bicycle on the sidewalk.
Yes,
Is that just Osceola County? Because I looked at it in Florida state law and says it is.
you got the statute in.
This is under Florida bicycle law. Oh, there's 316.2065, 316.2065, 316.2065.
And must have changed that in the last several years. The reason I said is I wasn't favorable for us for kids to ride a bicycle down the sidewalk.
Right.
They call it stop like into a car now. And back then it was against the law.
It says,
Maybe I should brush my stuff up on
it
bicycle.
says if they're on the side, they have the rights and duties applicable to as a pedestrian.
They changed it.
Then, yeah. But the motorized kids under 16 can't be riding those, right?
Correct.
And they have to be
This
licensed.
is bicycle, doesn't say anything.
Yeah, bicycles, right.
That's kind of side of what they call it.
Yeah.
That would be powered by your legs, not by a motor or electric battery, something like that.
All right, sir. Thank you so much. Anybody else?
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Let's move on to some action items we need to take care of. Do I have a motion for to approve the Heritage Hall fountain repairs in the amount of $46.75 from the reserves?
So move.
Second, any discussion?
Was this already done? This was okay. I saw it. It was like a geyser yesterday.
Yeah,
It was pretty.
It was cool.
Yeah. It was.
Any other discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? B, a motion to propose 2026 service area budgets to service area membership. This is a Charles.
Well, I'll make the motion to propose. Budgets.
Second, and
Do you, Jacob, want to go through? So I think the plan is that Jacob's going to go through kind of the executive summary of the 14 budgets. I can do that. I got it. And, we'll have some quick discussion. I don't think we need to spend like half an hour on this.
no, that's not.
Yeah, and Alex is here too, so, but Jacob did brief me on these, and I think we're in a pretty good place to propose on, so Jacob, if you want to maybe pick it up.
Yeah, so I can do that. Let me just switch this out over. There's really only a couple that we want to really focus some time on, but I can go over on a very high level.
And just to be clear, this is proposing. This is about.
Yeah, this is presenting to the membership.
Just mailing the letters. So they'll have an opportunity to review them. The committee then ultimately has to make the final decision.
Final recommendation, that we make the final.
We report, yep.
So with that said, starting just with Spring Lake, I'll just stick on a very high level unless we have ones that we need to spend a little more time on. There's a couple that have a management proposal as well as a committee proposal. So before I really dive into this, we also have Alex, our new service area director. He was at all of our service area committee budget meetings, and also Ray Furbis, your finance manager, on the line. Ray took the initial review of all of our budget, or of all of the service area budgets, looking at their current balances, their expected year-end balances on both their operating and their reserves. We looked at their reserve funding plans, all future projects that these service areas have, any trends we're seeing this year versus in previous years, and really did a heavy scrutinization of the budgets this year. I'd say more, especially more than we did in last year and then the years prior as well. So it's and then we socialized all of these with the committees and service areas that didn't have committees. We also emailed these out along with their reserve funding plan and expenditure plans, and have been in collaboration with anyone that has reached out with questions. That said, so we're looking at Spring Lake Townhome, a suggested increase of 6.5%. And the majority of that is going towards, I want to say, their reserves.
I think you'll see across all 14. I think there are maybe 3 that are double digit: Academy Row, Island Village, and Charleston Place. I think are in the double digits. Everyone else, especially after we made the adjustments last meeting, are in like the 6 to 8-ish.
Noting on that is that every service area, when we look at their budgets, is treated very much as an individual service area, as their account balances and operating and reserves are different. So there's not anything that we're treating as an overall ruling. There's a couple of things that we're setting a generalized increase, a 5% increase for pressure washings, and you'll often see an 8% increase on termite bonds, and those are based off of just what we've been seeing in the past, as well as projections in the future. Again, when service area budgets do run much tighter, they have a lot less lines than our main CROA budgets. So there's a few that are running very, very, very tight on their operating funds, as tight as about 1 month's worth of cash for the amount of expenses they have going out in the months. With those, we made sure that their next year's budgets are written at a slightly more conservative level, as there's no room for any missed numbers in those. As we move to Spring Lake Gardens, this one is interesting. We did meet with them. They're looking at a 4.5% increase. We received information just today from one of the committee members sharing that the committee's looking at adding funds to their landscaping contract, adding a 10% to that balance. We requested that the full committee provide feedback on this, as right now it's not a committee decision. We only have feedback from one. This one's interesting, as if we were to change this to allow this 10% increase on their landscaping contract, that's going to switch their monthly assessments from a 4.5% increase to 11% increase. The committee's entertaining this as they want to potentially look at RFPing their landscape provider, and knowing that any new companies will most likely come in at a higher rate. They do have a well-funded operating fund, where if they needed to allow or to absorb any type of overages, if they were to look at switching next year or even mid-year, they can most likely absorb, especially this 10% amount out of operating. There's also the option of redoing their budget mid-year if they were to look at a drastic change on one of their main lines.
Can we, focus mainly on the ones that are gonna be highlights, like under 5?
Cool. So that's
Close
only
to
gonna be,
inflation.
there's gonna be about 4, and this is gonna be one of them that we need the board's input on.
Okay, so,
As management's recommendation would be what we've discussed with the committee, at a 4.5% increase.
So I would agree with that because the committee, to your point, has not reached consensus on this. So I think right now there's one,
the Spring Lake Gardens.
the Spring Lake Gardens.
What did they say?
They're
Well, there's a member who wants more money for landscaping apparently. Is that what I'm hearing?
right. At this point, again, we're proposing it. For purposes of proposing, I would go out with the management recommendation. If they want to reach consensus, they can. But for purposes of at least communicating it and getting it out. I think
Communicated at this level.
correct. We should go out with the recommendation.
I assume there's a committee meeting between
Yes,
now and when the budget gets voted on.
they have to approve the budget. So
Right.
there will be. They have to approve the next.
No,
They're not.
The board is the only one that approves the budget.
They're just,
They
they're
provide
just,
recommendations.
yeah, feedback.
Okay.
And in
So-
these budget sessions that we've already had, most, if we had a quorum of the committees and there was recommendations, a lot of the recommendations management was able to work with and provide modifications in that. And that's why you're only seeing one proposed budget. There's only 2 that have recommendations that were not in line with the management recommendation that they're seeking board's decision on.
Okay.
So we'll move, if the board's fine, we'll move past this one. There's only one presented in your packet, and that's at a 4.5% increase, on that.
Is this Charleston, is that the next one you're going to, or Academy Road?
Just for the highest level, Savannah Square looking at a 2.2% increase. The Roseville Corner looking at a 4.9% increase. Parkview is looking at a 5.4% increase. Oak Pond, a 3.9% increase. North Village is a 16% increase. That increase is, I think it's
Reserves.
it's less than 3% operating and administrative, and the majority of that is a large reserve allocations jumping from 68,000 to 91,000.
They didn't fund the reserves last year to the level, so that's why this is a catch up. And that's why that's running higher. So
Island Village is one,
Piper has to be paid.
they should just do it consistently so that they don't do this erratic.
Island Village is looking at a 19.1% increase. Bear in mind, they are one of the lower monthly assessments. I think this keeps them after, in 2026, this would move them to the second lowest behind Spring Lake Townhomes. The main reason for this increase is they are underfunded severely on their reserves, as they didn't have a reserve plan until last year. So it was based off of similar sized communities. And it's looking at a deficit of about 400,000 at the end of this year from where their funding plan should be.
Is this due to developer?
Well, the reserve, they didn't have a reserve.
They didn't have a reserve, so there was nothing done by the developer, so really, we're taking the first shot at it.
And we're getting how many, 50 next year? New, or is that when we're getting?
That's a good, so this budget right here is based on 70 units, right now, the association is 66 unit, 60.
68.
No, it's 64, where you have one item on your agenda tonight for the turnover building 24. So this budget is built with that turnover included.
Okay.
So, and this new, assessment will carry a better reserve number over to the new townhouse to come up.
Correct, and it's still short. I mean, if we could, we would increase the allocations on reserves
So-
even more.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of, I mean, I hate to say it, but are we just kicking the can down the road?
Mhm.
And I get it, we don't want to slam people with a big, increase year over year. On the one hand, on the other hand, it's $60, right?
They have a massive irrigation project too that's in the pipeline. So there is, I hear you,
Yeah,
and
If we did what we needed to do, like just, get into what would the increase be? Roughly, ballpark,
are we talking
40,
50?
50?
Percent?
Mhm.
I would need to double check that.
Give me a dollar one.
Yeah.
The issue is, once an association boards with about, or really can propose up to that 20% before it starts getting much more difficult.
No, I just wanted to know, not to actually propose it, but
Okay.
just to see what the can that we're kicking looks like.
How big is
Yeah.
is it gonna be?
Not to propose it. I would never do that to somebody.
But is there, with the home sales for next, like the, through next year, is there a chance that it's gonna be, by the time next year ends, over 70 units?
So yeah, next year we could potentially take on additional units. It depends on how the turnover goes with this new team at Mattamy. So we're hoping it goes smoother. And with this last building, we've given them kind of a very detailed outline. If these are the expectations, when you want us to take something over, this is what needs to be done. There are 38 townhomes in 2A that could potentially be turned over to us.
An additional,
So
and then they'll be contributing this,
same,
which will.
same amount,
But,
yeah.
but not until potentially like the second half of.
Probably the.
Yeah.
And I wasn't looking for a hard number. I was like, my question is this gonna require us to do a 19 this year or 19 next year?
You're looking at probably close to 20% for the
And
next,
next year as
next
well.
couple of years.
Next couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna require.
It's either, that's what I was saying, it's either that or hit them with 60 now.
I'm just thinking
Yeah,
that
or
with
50.
more phones, it's kind of like spread out.
It's not really gonna do that though, because it's the same percentage of the value of that home that goes to the reserve.
The additional struggle is then the reserve study that we just had done this year is not accounting for the 38 homes. So as we progress and add additional townhomes and we free up the reserve study, they're gonna see larger jumps in their first, 5-6 years of owning in these townhome communities, just because of the number of doors added. Because in Island Village alone, you're adding 309 townhomes. And that's more than half of what you have right now.
But would you say this is typical though, when you have a new townhome unit, like the first couple of years they build the reserves?
I'm gonna defer to Beatrice on that one.
I don't know if that's.
I don't know, and again, I think it was kind of
Typically, what,
a mistake on the part, because we haven't had this before.
okay, that's what I'm wondering.
With
The other-
new townhouses that have come on in the past that I recall, or Spring Lake. And some of the artisan stuff years ago, I don't remember this being the case. I think there was a screw up on the part of Mattamy.
Yeah.
Problem is those reserves. We can't anymore. No, underfund reserves.
Yeah.
And again, like we have an RFP in play right now for irrigation, which is gonna probably come in from what, it's gonna be around 60, 70, 80,000 potentially. And that's,
All I want to do is I want to go into this having an explanation when somebody says, why 19 now? Well, it's better than 50.
Well, I think,
well,
So right here, our finance manager says it would need an increase of over 200%. The current deficit is close to $500,000. So as we look at their funding plan, they're anticipated, if you want to zoom in. So per the reserve advisors, they should be ending 2025 around $587,000. They're looking at ending 2025 around $90,000.
Oh,
yeah.
Now, and as well as expediting an irrigation project that isn't funded for another 25 years.
It's gonna be a special.
$60,000 that they can use their reserves as it is a reserve expense.
but that leaves the reserves even shorter.
It wipes the entire.
To fund it while they're in a process of doing a special assessment to cover those escalated costs.
And they can't replace landscaping right now because we need to get to the irrigation, the literal root cause. So it's all types of. And
The
we
committee-
step it up so much then.
The committee asked, is there options we can look at that's not at 20% this year, next year, that we look at 10% over 10 years? The issue is they're just at such a.
It would be
such a big
10%
gap.
over 20 years.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting closer to the amount of, if they were where they should be, their recommendation for next year would be $153,000 as an allocation. In this proposed budget, they are moving from $102,000 allocation this year to $142,000 next year. So they'll be able in the next few years, increases going directly to the reserve allocation, hopefully be able to meet that deficit quicker. as they start, providing a higher amount than that, but then that allocation.
Sounds like 5 years to me.
So, but we'll have the townhomes too, the additional council will be able to spread it out to over the larger
Yeah.
denominator. So I think right now.
We can't come in under 19. Not to be responsible to future residents and
So you can.
you can, but I think it would be
Well,
wrong.
what's in the pipeline for reserve, right? So what do they have identified? Also, that's another question, because right now for 2026, aside from the irrigation, which is additional, there's not painting, there's not roof.
There
What are the
is-
large scale reserve projects for them specifically?
In 2027, they start their major exterior paint, and that is, yep. And that will be a total project of $350,000 over
We're
3
gonna have
years.
to talk
That
about
will
like,
most likely
that's gonna
be
be a
done.
project where we talk about tabling that,
Delaying it.
delaying it something, because that.
Is that the 5-year schedule?
Okay.
Or is that a 5-year schedule for pay?
Paint is on a,
It's just
I think
like
it's
2022,
7
right? Yeah.
years.
And I think some of those were built in 2021.
I think that's soon.
Wow.
So I think that paint project can be.
Can be put off.
Yeah, it's on a schedule for every
So-
5 to 7
It's
years.
a combination of like ramping it up and then being intelligent about what management is recommending. So something like that, I don't think we need to go out.
With balance.
Exactly. So I think right now, the 20, but where do we have it at 19?
19.1.
I think that's where we go out with right now.
When you look at percentages, you also should, we have to look at the amounts as well. So when we talk about a 20%, it's $56 or 56.
59.
Yeah, but when you look at something like South Village, that is already at a much steeper monthly assessment, a 6% is still a $33 increase for them.
Yeah.
So, and because their proposed monthly assessments is now $581 for that service area. And like I said, I mean, while it is still significant to the owners of Island Village, an increase is significant. So when we look at it comparable to the others, it's still a couple $100 less. Bear in mind, they're newer, they don't have it, but that's just one item of
I
consideration.
just don't see any.
Does it make sense? Do we want to maybe get the finance committee all, because they don't typically look at the service area budgets, right? Are you all, you're not looking at those? I mean, is that something where maybe we want you all to take a look at it?
They can't make magic happen.
Well, I know,
So
but
short, the numbers are what they
They
are.
are what they are. These numbers are around.
but I'm saying projecting this out over whatever, like a 2.
Like I said, we've done that.
Yeah.
How long does Madden's warranty on these townhomes last?
There's not significant warranties.
Well, structurally, it's 10
Yes.
years, 25 for one.
Yeah.
Why do they need to pay so much now? If they're spread it out?
Their reserves are tiny.
No, what I mean is they're under warranty.
Yeah, but not for only structural. I mean, if the buildings start to collapse, but building warranties don't cover very much in reality.
These are all interesting to see.
It's good.
We're not re-roofing. We re-roof over after a couple of decades. We're not gonna re-roof.
Do you expect to replumb the full building?
No, it's not in the reserve.
Everything that Madden's warranting is not items that are allocated in these reserve, expenses.
Yes, there's no warranty on exterior paint after.
Just general building on the roofs.
So we have one proposed budget. Does the board have anything they'd like to look at outside of the proposed budget for Island Village?
It makes,
It makes sense.
Alex, what do you think? What do you think?
We're digging out of a hole, and this is the best proposed solution.
It's a big deep hole. And it's a shame that we're doing that, but we're doing the responsible thing. If you look back at the 2024 and the 2025 increases, we've been doing this for a couple of years.
Sure.
Being responsible. We can't stop and suddenly say, let's be irresponsible and let the money go away.
Well, the alternative is that you don't have a significant percentage increase and you get whacked with a large special assessment.
Right.
That is.
and that's not.
And that's unfair. That's unfair to future homeowners.
Yeah,
Yes.
and it will.
And existing.
And it may happen anyway, it's just, I mean, that's the thing, I think we have to, I'm.
And the fact is, we're operating under new rules in Florida now. You cannot underfund reserves anymore.
And buyers look at that.
So we gotta be responsible. All right, what's the next big one?
Green Lawn, 4.3% increase. Golden Aster is looking at a 5.3% increase. Blue Sage, this is one that has, or East Village duplex, I missed. That's a 0%. So we do have one service area running flat next, or proposed to run flat next year.
The one with the 4 or 6 seconds.
Blue Sage is the one that is the board needs to advise on, as management has a conflicting recommendation to the committee. So this one, management's recommendation is a 17% increase of $77. The committee has a couple lines that differ from this, which are going to be to reduce their irrigation from management's recommendation of 2,500 to 1,500. This is their recommendation based off of the past. Our recommendation was based off of the projected expenses of this year. We've also done a audit into this and looked at, made sure there's no double billing, that the billing is accurate, and we're just seeing a higher watering.
The water bills are higher.
The water bills are higher.
They're not
The
just-
association has also changed landscapers. With different landscapers, the amount of water frequencies can change as well. This is a service area as well that has a very, very, very tight operating fund, where there is no room to under budget and allow it to, if they have any overages on lines like water, that there's nothing they can pull from on this one.
Yeah, they're running too lean. They're running too close.
There was,
I do just want to point out,
that was the one, actually the only item that they had that conflicted a management recommendation.
so we did just have a pretty big discussion about Island Village. Blue Sage's increase is more than theirs,
Dollar. Yeah, dollar.
so just making sure we all know.
The
If you wanted to get the tip, to me, I think that it needs to stick at management's recommendation, for this one.
I mean, they're talking about trying to pay $1,000 less for water. Where else are they getting savings of any?
They're not.
Yeah.
They're not.
Okay,
This is,
then there's no,
Things cut it.
we have to go with
and
management.
then when you're already lean, then you can't.
And look,
And then we're responsible.
if the argument comes back in the next 30 days that sways us otherwise, that's fine. Once again, this is just a proposal.
Yeah, I would take management.
Yes. So far, everything, like, as we discussed, I haven't seen anything.
These look like they've been pretty carefully considered.
Yeah, yeah,
It's not a haphazard process that what I'm gathering.
yeah, the process was good.
Yeah, we had an operating balance of Blue Sage at the end of, or halfway through the year of $2,297.
$2,000?
That is all in their that's what their operating is at.
And
That's why we can't have,
Yeah,
there's some things, I mean, that are, they're not over budget, there's no over budgeting. But there is some conservative budgeting, and there is no room for holidays.
That's mulch.
Check, got it.
Yeah.
Thank you. What else you got?
The last one is Academy Row. Academy Row has a member of the committee has propositions for the pressure washing cycle, as well as
That's on.
trees. This is for next year. There is an agenda item as they would like to
For this year.
for this year.
All right, so what are they saying for next?
So we've changed in all of these budgets, instead of just a general pressure washing line, we've broken it out for 2026 forward to have a spring pressure washing and a fall pressure washing line as separate lines, as the spring is a flats only, meaning mainly just sidewalks. And the fall is a full pressure washing of the facades and sidewalks. This committee is wanting to lower the fall pressure washing from the proposed amount by of 10,000 to 3,000, add a new line.
One member, this is one member that wants to do
This
this.
is not the whole committee.
This is one.
Yes,
From
correct.
10,000 to 3,000?
And they want to then kind of meet the difference on a new line that's funded at 4,000. So basically they want to do a full pressure washing every 2 years and do two flats only
So
a year.
You're-
And they want to fund.
Yeah, we, I
And
don't know about their houses, but my house has to be pressure washed every year. It's Florida.
and
And to meet that, instead of seeing a spike on pressure washing every other year, they want to basically pre-budget half the amount of a full pressure washing and not use it. And then the next year, utilize that and of the other.
I think it's creative, but I think it's necessary because just from experience with pressure washing, it's something that's needed at a minimum every year, or you're gonna be looking at your place.
And the flats twice.
Or then, I think what we
Well, this
discussed
only
here, the
doesn't-
homeowner would then be responsible.
We also have an obligation to do that.
Right,
So our obligation is to provide pressure washing. So they can't tell us they're not budgeted for pressure washing.
Cause it's,
It's, well, the bylaws say that we provide, so I don't think we can just have someone say, no, we're just not gonna do it this year. I think there's room to say like, maybe we reduce the scope in certain ways. Like, I know we've talked about flats versus not versus full, but to just pull it out outright.
so the alternative though with the service area, and correct me if I'm wrong here. We have to provide pressure washing. Doesn't say that we have to provide a clean sidewalk. However, our covenants state that you have to have a clean sidewalk. So in theory, and I know this is supposed to happen, it doesn't, but
No, I know where you're going.
Well, this will be brought up.
it has to be cited for the resident to say, you need to clean your sidewalk.
And that does happen in some service areas in between the two cycles where they have a heavy tree canopy and their sidewalks get green in between cycles and then resident gets cited for.
So it's the kind of thing where you could do this if you wanted to do that, but just understand that then your.
And the rest-
It's on you. You gotta, now you've got to pressure wash your sidewalk.
but you
Yeah.
also have to think about the rest of the homeowners in that
Correct.
townhome who buy a townhome to have these things taken care of.
I agree with you,
Right,
yeah.
and then if we don't
No, I-
fund it and it falls on the homeowner, then they're like, well, wait a minute, I thought the service area, you know.
The simplest answer is to stick with management.
We're also going to drive up our administrative costs, mailing
Yeah.
costs, and covenant inspector
Silly,
costs.
silly.
Yeah,
So it's not, and we're talking about, how much is this again that they're litigating? This is how much, couple $1,000s?
It's going for, I mean, the amount is a bit convoluted. We're looking at
3,000
How
a
the
year.
science of this, they're looking at, their version would be a $12 a month increase, where management's would be a $25 a month increase.
I think I-
But that is additionally.
Oh, that's everything.
That's of one additional line that they wanted to remove, which was trees not in contract. What we're doing, we're refunded in CROA to be able to adjust tree canopies. We also are looking at in service areas. This one has a lot of issues with trees, and we've seen a lot of expenses this year in trees.
Yeah.
And we have multiple quotes from their landscape provider for additional trees. And so it's funding about $90 a door for anything tree related. I mean, we are just, right now, there's another item for trees that they're looking at spending another $1,000 to get trees removed. And these are not easement trees, these are inside the surface area trees as well.
so to me, I would actually recommend that we would go with the 25, whatever dollar increase.
That would be the management's recommendation.
With the proposal, once again, this is just proposing it. We can still receive feedback between now and when this gets voted on.
Because this goes to all the homeowners there, so that gives them all the opportunity
Yep.
now to like.
Yeah,
Again, this was one person's feedback, and in that instance, we default to management's recommendation, I think.
We have to.
Yeah.
It's the only responsible way
And
to
this-
do it.
I will say, this committee may have gone back and received support of the entire committee. And I think that may be so because we did label this as a committee proposal. So I don't want
That's-
to assign that to like just one.
That's fine.
There may be full committee support for that.
but that's okay. We can still receive that feedback between now and when this is
And
voted
from all
on.
the,
And we'll vote on it later.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. What else you got?
That's your service area budget. So what it's sounding, what I've heard is that the board is looking to look at approving the management proposals.
Is that correct?
there's one question. And it kind of, it's this format a little bit. I like how you have on it with it, the 2025 budget as well, as the, what is it? Where it's projected. And I was just going to make a suggestion that when we do our final budget for CROA, if we could have also what the 2025 budget was. Cause on our CROA letter, it just has the projected, it doesn't list what the actual
So
budget was.
when the final budget is approved, that budget workbook that we
Mhm.
have been utilizing, that will be put on the website for residents to view. So that'll have the 2025 actual and the 2025 projected on it.
Is there a letter like this that is included again with the approved budget that shows the actual and the
We usually
projected?
point the residents to the website with
Okay.
it was posted on there.
For service areas, it's here and that. but
Yes, and but yes, we can make sure that the actual versus projected for the CROA final is.
And like, and what the, yeah, what the original budget was.
Yep.
All right, any other discussion on this motion? Motion to propose 2026 service area budgets to the service area membership. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, done. Now, motion to approve the Cadence Protective Services. This, did we find out this was just a change in name?
Yep.
So this is just a change in name on the contract, not the terms.
Per the board's request, Cadence Protective Services leadership is in the room as well. If you have any questions for them, the contract provided in the packet has been updated. The terms are like for like as the Mayberry terms. The pricing has been adjusted to a prorated amount from what you're seeing from October through the end of the original term, which is June.
Motion to approve.
Motion.
Second,
Second.
Eric, any other discussion?
The concern that was raised by Montville has been addressed.
So you're good?
Thank you. Oh, thank you.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you.
Do you know, and it was listed in the past, Cadence Protective Services has provided an option for a 2-year locked rate contract. That the board is still welcome to review with after time of seeing performance of them, if they'd like to look at locking that rate in before we look at this contract expiring.
Future active.
Got it. Okay.
Cool.
And then can we have like a update to the community, just like that's no longer Mayberry? It's,
Oh, just in the month, in the
Yeah,
Monday
we
matters.
can look at it.
They're gonna see a different name.
Everybody.
Yeah, we paused on that until we have the
Yeah.
approved contract. Okay.
okay.
Do you guys have a new theme song though, for me to listen to?
I think we got rid of that, once, yeah, make a switch.
It's not as much fun in tradition without the theme
Well, the
song.
original story was Otis got sober and realized that Barney and Andy was messing him over. So
there you go.
here we are. That's how we got more.
All right, guys, we'll just whistle, yeah.
Thank you, appreciate it.
All right, thanks. Motion to approve roof and stucco repair at Academy Row Meeting House Green for 5626.
I'm gonna make a motion to table this.
Oh, ooh.
So this was brought up by an owner.
If someone wants
We
to.
need a second.
I'll second.
All right, let's discuss it.
This was there's a leak that was brought up by an owner. This leak is a bit interesting as if it was specifically directed at roof, it would be most likely a service area item to resolve. This is mainly attributable to the dormer and stucco of the dormer, which would be attributable to the owner,
Really?
not the association. So if anything, it could potentially be an entertained of a joint payment of this. This was put on your agenda as we expected that the committee would be providing feedback and most likely wanting to look at moving this forward by the time of this meeting. The committee is still in discussion of this and has not provided a stance on approving this or not. That is why you're seeing a motion to table.
Yes, go ahead. We're in discussion. You can speak.
Can't discuss.
Oh, that's right. We can't discuss.
So that's okay. So come on.
You in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? No. Okay. Now, this next part B or 5, I don't know why we. The Romans have been gone for a long time. These are all just future consent items for discussion. We're not moving anything, where there are no motions. A is talking about reallocating funds for fountain repairs at Ashby Park from operating to reserve. Is this something everybody's comfortable putting on as a action item? Okay, how about,
So,
yeah,
sorry, on
No.
question on Ashby. So this is the fountain itself, but the fountain somewhat works, it's the lighting that also has a problem too.
So this was the major repair to the engine, to the motor that happened earlier this year.
Okay,
It was done out of operating, and as we were looking in the reserves and this fountain out here, looking at, we have funds available next year for fountain rebuild that are mainly for rebuilding of the motors. That's why it's being looked at to
So this is-
reallocate this out of operating to reserves to that line.
got it. So it's already happened. So we still have stuff to fix.
Yeah, we still have the lighting to address.
Okay,
That's still on the list of things.
okay.
So we're good to put that on the agenda as an action item. All right, next action item is spending $33,330 to fix all kinds of little things in CROA parks from Go tickets. Are we okay putting that on?
What are these specifically? What's,
Are these, okay. Very quick, we can go through what these are. So it's outlined here and broken apart, but just for an even higher level. Olmsted, so these are requests that have been outstanding that our landscape provider cannot complete the GoGov tickets as they require additional funding. One is Olmsted News. This is the side of the news that we have a ticket for the replacement of the patching sod. The Spring Lake Parks, there are missing slash pines. This is an interesting area. There's multiple areas of Spring Lake Parks and in other areas of celebration that are not part of our designated 84, 85 parks that we're maybe looking at starting in 2026, counting them as parks, as right now, since they're not a park, they're really hard for us to pull funding to fix or maintain.
Yeah.
So this is an area that was long thought was CBD as it's along the trail of the lake. There's big sections that are in need, that are, originally had pines and grasses that have not for many, many years. And there's tickets to replace the missing trees and to repair the sections that had ornamental grasses and mulch to sod. This same area here with all these bumps is one of those sections.
So, and this,
This is a very long list.
yeah,
It's a lot of little and a lot of grass. There's a ton of grass.
that was gonna be my question. And so we're looking at grass here. Do we think the grass is gonna grow?
So this is not grass. I mean, this section, as you can see.
No, but I see there's some sod to be done.
Yeah.
There's some.
It's weeds that would be transitioned to grass. This is a cheaper option. Great. The same option that, the alternative would be to return it to its life stance. It would be to infill this with ornamental grasses, weed or remove this and mulch it.
laughing about it, but it's like,
So it's Florida, some sort of grass feeds and you have to turn it back to the grass again.
Same with this spot. This is a area of a muse that is missing a boxwood. This area is, again, Grove Muse. It's missing, shillings.
Least not-
so is this just like an accrual of
This is
over the last year, 6 months? Like, how long has this been?
This is over the past few months. Maybe since April-ish. These are items where, as I was mentioning before, we have $20,000 in operating for replacement. That $20,000, if now you look at what these things aren't even in the parks that we were considering at about $100 a park.
Looks like that
So it's
sidewalk.
utilizing those. The fund, now, another note to be made is the plan for the around $206,000 that is on the line for landscape replacements in the reserve had projects through the end of the year. Knowing to be able to fund this, we're looking at delaying some of the other projects that were on that list to try to stay as close as we can to what is allocated in the reserves.
Yeah,
But these are some real problem areas.
but. Okay.
Yeah.
We're gonna have another list of problem areas in 3 months.
Yes,
And that's what I,
Many of these though have not been, I mean, here's,
it's just a perpetual exercise.
yeah, this is one, this area has been empty since long before I worked here. I mean, and it just needs addressed, but hasn't had funding to.
And these are not attached to any larger park improvements. These are all just things we have to do.
The only one,
This was kind of the idea of instead of continuing to look at large park improvements that we have, it's taking a pause on those to address what we are hearing as active resident issues.
The only one
Yeah,
that,
now, that's the thing, is that these are resident complaints.
Yeah.
That need to be eventually addressed. These are the things we're hearing about. People are going, the landscaping looks like hell in their area. You see, each of us sees our area. And we go, it looks like hell, fix it. We're out fixing the bigger projects, and we're not addressing the little ones. And they come back to bite us every once in a while to the tune of $33,000.
It's actually been, we, on the distance dropped down by
30,000, I'm sorry, yeah, the new document does say 30.
Question I wanted to make. What is the Celebration Avenue block wall, the entrance?
Okay, that one is,
That brick wall across the entrance to East Village.
here we go, it says here.
that thing.
So when you are driving on Celebration Avenue, if you're leaving Town Hall and before you get to East Lawn, if you look to the right, there's that section that CDD has planned all of this variety. The section behind it is CROA. CDD is maintaining as far as any mowing. However, this section of Mexican Petunia is about 50% of the wall, leaving this section vacant, and has been requested to be filled in with the same Mexican Petunia that is out of the section there.
And again, we're not voting on this till later. So any other questions on what this entails, and are we good to make it an action? All right, good. Island Village Townhome turnover building 24, we'll have a motion for that. Any thoughts, concerns? Well, they're gonna have to better reserves.
It's, we don't know what it's built from, so this is, we engaged Karen's engineering. for
So
this, right?
Karen, it's sign off from Karen's engineering for community standards and for the landscape.
And Madamy's been,
Maddie lets us know when they've corrected the items that we tell them to correct. And then they say, we're ready to turn it over. We come back out and do our inspections again. And it's a continuing back and forth until we.
So we're to the point now of acceptance.
We did, I want to say the first inspection on this in August of 2024. We've been in back and forth with the county.
Jim's looking at this.
These are the 4 townhomes that were modeled in phase 1. They're sold by year.
Oh, one section of the school.
That's why you're having post
These
transition.
people haven't been paying dues, right?
They pay CROA dues. They have not been paying service area dues, but we don't maintain.
Right, because the models are right there, they've been just mowing all the lawns this whole time.
Yeah.
So they'll be coming into the service area
It
now.
could have been turned over
Yeah.
about 6, 7.
Yeah, so basically, the C and D they go together.
Yeah, but the ceiling is mandatory, we need to accept it.
We have to accept it, yes.
Yeah.
And again, this is just for an action item at the next meeting.
My concern is just making sure that Karen's has done it, Madamy, they've all gone back and forth, they have mediated things as long as it's ready, because that's.
Like I said, we did this initial walkthrough and started this process with Karen's in August of 2024.
Yep.
We've been pushing back on making sure it's where we want to accept it for about a year. All right, and it's just now to that point.
We're good?
I make a motion for the item C.
Well, we don't really need to move. We're just going as action items. D, we good to make that an action item? To add building 24 to the landscape service area? It's basically the same. Okay. E is an action item for motion to purchase servers, Lenovo servers for 82 grand recommended by the tech committee. Is this something we want to ask about? We good?
8,200, not 82.
8,200. 80,000, 8 grand. Sorry, brain damage. We're all good, right? Yep. Cool. I think we got through that one. Now we're on to just plain old discussion stuff.
The fun stuff.
The sanitation contract renewal.
The 2 ladies who clean take care about the complex and the sanitation contract. What is called?
This is our trash service for the town. So
This is Ken.
and with Celebration Sanitation. So the current contract with Celebration Sanitation does run through the end of December 2026. While there's plenty of time remaining on this contract, Celebration Sanitation has reached out to begin discussing their discussions regarding contract renewal. This request is made as they are scheduled to replace a sanitation truck in early 2026 So the acquisition of a new truck is a significant investment for Celebration Sanitation. They're seeking comfort in a longer contracted term with CROA. Celebration Sanitation's rates increases have typically been tied to CPI. Excuse me, and their fleet is specifically curated with smaller trucks to better navigate and not damage Celebration's narrow alleys. The board is open to entertaining a contract extension with Celebration Sanitation for 2027 and onward. We will begin the process with them.
Yeah, I don't see why we shouldn't negotiate that. Because it gets us, we have some leverage on terms then to get better terms than waiting.
They've also been a great partner.
And they've been a great partner. Ken's right.
Will we eventually get to the point though with this, that they will actually need an additional vehicle? And we should expect an increase for that to be able to cover our village.
We would have to ask, but I would assume.
So I think that that's something that needs to be baked into a little bit of this. Because
So we'll start.
As they negotiate.
as they negotiate, yeah.
Okay. The towing policy at Lakeside. What's the deal?
So per our residents' request, the Lakeside, the background on this, Lakeside Park is a CROA resident amenity with parking exclusive for vehicles with valid CROA parking decals. While signage is posted and vehicles in violation will be towed, this is currently done on a kinder, gentler, as needed basis. The parking lot is closed every evening to prevent loitering and overnight parking. A resident has reached out, actually, 2 residents have reached out to management requesting more scrutiny for decal enforcement and vehicle towing. Management is prepared to act on this request. However, this would be a shift from a long-standing practice. It is anticipated that the strict vehicle towing may cause disputes with residents and non-residents at Town Hall, specifically with our resident service staff currently located at Lakeside Park. Management is seeking input from the board regarding a potential change to this policy.
I don't think we need to change it.
No.
Because the towing policy is there for when we need to.
If it's an extreme
circumstance. I can tell you right now that there's a lot of vehicles that don't have decals. And there's a lot of people that probably don't even know they could have them. And so it opens up a whole different.
And the other thing, is it a lot of ado about not much of anything? I mean, most of the time, we close the lot at night. So, and most days, if I go over there, I think, oh, nice fine place. It may be down a bit, but.
Well, and I think to me, there's additional parking now technically with the removal of the EV chargers that used to be there, which technically were supposed to be dedicated EV charging. That's all gone. So.
No, I don't think there's any
Four
need.
spots.
Anybody think there's any need for this?
And the other thing, the schools use the pools, so they don't have it, so there's.
I will say partner programs are communicated that non-residents should not be parking in Lakeside Park.
But
That's good.
So
So
it is not something that we are allowing exceptions based on rentals of our facility.
Maybe can give Cadence sticky notes. To put on a card that says you don't have a decal. If you're a resident, go get a decal.
I like that idea and also like something in the Monday Matters to remind residents to park at Lakeside, you can get your decal or, resident parking decals here. And I don't even know if they could fill out the form online and submit it and have the decal mailed as an option. Cause I know some people are like, oh, I can't come in, but even if that would be I think it was very few, because most people probably just come in and do it.
Do we have decals?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, I knew we had.
You don't have a decal?
We still have them. No, I have one. but I
They
have
don't
it.
look like the original ones,
They're
because
little
we couldn't
circles.
get them from the same.
They changed design
They're
around
part of it.
2022.
Oh, I got a
They
square.
are, yeah.
Yeah.
The circle.
Oh,
The
But
circle.
I think a reminders.
Yeah, and I think putting notes on, then it kind of meets them halfway. We're not towing, but we're telling.
Right.
Notice you could be told.
Well,
Yeah.
the sign says that too, so it just, it kind of echoes, what is already there, and then people will start to catch on, hopefully.
We're also not under a contract with a towing company too, but how would we even, right? If we did tow, what do we do? Just call?
I think we have a Thursday towing company on the
How
side.
would we are under
But
contract?
they're not,
Or
we're
just
not
somebody-
designated to be actively monitored, which you can change.
No.
Oh.
Okay. The one just thing to note is we did just have that reduction of our security patrol staff back to its
To our
former
full.
summer. Yes, so Those right now, just one guard we have on a couple days of a week, and when they do, they're actively monitoring all villages. And so just that we can ask them to do this, but it will not be as strong of a monitoring as we would have potentially
Start
hired.
here and see how it does. Are residents still able to call Cadence?
Yes,
Like-
there's an updated number and there's updated signage that Cadence has or will be providing to us for us to post.
And put in the, okay,
The main signs that we're seeing that were added over the summer for Mayberry are removed, and we'll be adding those back next summer with new language, when the summer program is reestablished.
All right, let's move along. We're good, no towing. Academy Road pressure washing, didn't we just talk about this?
They don't want to do it anymore.
This, what we talked about is for their budget for future years.
Yeah.
The committee would like to request that the board consider adjusting the approval that you approved in your last meeting for a full pressure washing for all service areas. As they want to do only a flats only. This service area completed a full paint, and their justification on this is that they have just recently done a paint project. Their full paint project was completed between April and July of last year's.
Wait, April and July of 25 or 24?
2024.
24.
And the committee believes that the buildings are still in good condition from the paint project performed 14 to 17 months ago. Management typically schedules is to conduct the fall pressure washing every fall in line with the governing documents. Homeowners are responsible for pressure washing between these cycles. If the full pressure washing is changed to a flats only pressure washing as suggested by the committee, the townhomes would not receive a full pressure washing for an additional 12 months. Any community standard compliance issues related to pressure washing would then be addressed directly with the homeowner applicable. If the homeowner is upset that they're seeing this as they pay dues to this, they would be informed. This is a request of your committee that was approved by the board. It is on you to remedy this.
So no, let's be the grown up.
So aside from everything that you outlined, the other problem with this is, you're calling me.
No, yeah, tell me.
Oh,
Powder.
The amount of rework. I want to still be cognizant, like, we go through the motions, we issue the, and then we change our mind. At some point, we have to have some consistency because it does create a lot of rework and a lot of having to go back and do 180s for management. And that's not to say we shouldn't do that, but at some point, like, we knew, like, these things have been painted for over a year and a half.
And they're gonna, they mold and mildew over the summer. Every building in Celebration molds and mildews over the summer somewhere, maybe not everywhere.
So we've already gone through this
And we don't clean them over the summer because it would be stupid and a waste of time. We wait until the fall when it gets dry and we pressure wash.
I also feel like this reminds me of the whole gutter thing. from-
which is
Academy Road, that rings a bell. I
Yeah.
don't like it ever want to change things.
So, yeah.
Well,
We're just talking, right?
we're just talking. Here's my thing, and I say go for it.
What
What?
do you want?
You would need to.
Eric, you are
We need
such
to
a
vote.
Because,
No, not right now.
no, here's my reason why, and I
No, I
hate
don't-
to say
I'm not-
it,
I know
this.
what you're in.
I know.
Let the residents be pissed at their committee.
But now it falls on us as the board.
Oh, I understand this is not the grown-up decision to make, but.
We have to-
That's what his response is to my, let's be a grown up.
But my thing, but honestly, it's one of those things where it's, if the committee's requesting this and we're saying we don't think you should.
But we vote.
We-
It's
we
with
did.
us at the end of it stops with the board at the end of the
We
day.
did that with the gutters. We've done this over and over. with
We gotta stop. We've gotta stick to, we've got these rules and they're there for a very good reason because we've had almost 30 years of seeing what happens every year.
So
Let's also remember the gutters. identify
prior
cleaning
to
bags.
this,
So,
community standards and Alex has walked the property and they say there are multiple items, especially regarding windowsills, that are due for cleaning.
It makes
So
sense.
community standards is actively noted and they're not citing any service area pressure washing items as they know that there's a contract in place right now to remedy this.
Okay, so
If this
if
board
there wasn't,
changes, they will.
So they
it
like,
would have been written on
and
paper.
to your point, they're not gonna go to the service area committee. They're gonna come to the CROA meeting and say, why didn't you wash our house?
Yeah.
I'm with you. I'm with you. I don't know what to do.
So by the
I
way,
do, I get caught up and say, you have to.
remember, what did they find in the gutters? What did they find in the gutters when they didn't want it? What did they find? Painter Rex. Which would have caused, yeah, which would have caused it. So if they didn't want to do it.
Mhm.
They ended up doing it, and it was a good thing that we did it, because
You rake the tennis balls, you said, yeah.
it was tennis balls, I thought there were paper bags and other stuff, so.
I find any cash?
No, they did not find it.
So
So,
take it.
Yeah.
so do we need this, do we need to do anything as an action item? No.
So here,
No.
Well, unless there.
We just let it keep going unless Eric, and there's no, I'm not letting you make a motion at this meeting.
yeah, so here's the other flip side of this, because I know this question's going to come to us, is the board, my understanding is the buck stops with the board, even though the committee can say whatever they want as a service area committee, vote, blah, 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 sanction it. Ultimately, the board can say, no, sorry, and we're still gonna do this.
Exactly.
We can,
We've already said we're gonna.
Well, that's
Yeah, I
responsibility.
mean, the CROA board is in board for all 14 service
They're an
areas.
advisory.
okay, they're an advisory,
Advisory committee, just like your other committees.
okay, just wanted to,
No,
You're on such a roll. Moving along,
so mulch.
multi-court design though, it had an MU in it. Oh, it had an MUL.
Give a presentation.
So I'll make this quick. Okay,
Why? I got time.
Yeah, because the sheriff talked a long time.
all right, so this was a presentation put together jointly by management and the stakeholder group for the multipurpose boards.
So this is going on lot B like Bravo.
Lot B,
Okay,
B,
sorry.
next to the dog park, between the dog park and the CDD building.
Yeah.
Okay, their objective is to continue the execution of the 2024 plan, building 8 multipurpose courts on lot B, not D. Construct shade areas and bathrooms. Courts will be designed for flexible use with an initial design. The initial design is 5 pickleball courts with 1 full basketball court that will
That can
have
be split.
lines with 4 half courts. The RFP was issued on July 1. We plan to award the design contract at your meeting at the end of this month. The design should be completed in December with a construction RFP being issued in January, February of next year. Construction contract award April 2026 and construction would commence around June of 26 in an ideal timeline.
And it's in our budget.
It's in your budget. Jim on finance provides, and on that MPAC provides a capital review on a monthly basis. This is next page.
I saw 8 courts.
Initial schematic of the lot.
I Frank Solar.
big flashbacks.
I Frank Solar did not like.
This is not the design proposal.
This is not the design proposal, this is just the
Drawing
draft
of something,
schematic.
that's the old one. I remember that. Yes.
So your project stakeholders were Joe Zoll, Mark Maturo, Alan Graz. We issued to 11 companies, 3 proposals were received. The committee reviewed and 1 finalist was identified. We did go back to them and negotiate a better price because the stakeholders felt the price being a minimal factor. At the end of the day, the recommendation from management and committee jointly is to award the design contract to JBB because they have significant design experience with a wide range of multipurpose courts. They've done over 10 similar projects throughout Florida. They have prior project experience with Disney. They have prior project experience in Celebration, and it's a competitive
We're
price.
talking $2,000.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
that's so close.
Then there's another page showing that you do actually have the financial ability to continue to do this. So you will see a contract proposal in your meeting at the end of September to engage them in design work similar to what we did with Colig for 851.
Any quick questions? Quick questions?
Sounds great.
Yeah, it sounds great to me.
Can it not be a tennis court?
Yeah. There's no tennis courts, but
I know that's the problem.
no, there's pickleball and basketball.
Okay.
There's no tennis. There's no tennis.
The usage and need will continue to be reevaluated on a regular basis, so if we do need to adjust what courts are designated what, then we can do that. But that might be a
But it's right now, they're
conversation.
all multi-purpose, but it's really one purpose.
Two purpose.
Basketball and pickleball, yes,
Okay.
yes.
Isn't that two?
Okay.
Wait a minute, I can count. That's two.
You're telling me all of those are basketball?
No.
Those,
There's a basketball court and 5 pickleballs.
But it's missing the.
Yes.
But the basketball court's big. But it can be split into 4 baby
don't,
courts.
don't get stuck on that picture, that's not an
Okay.
accurate representation.
I will defer.
Just missing the futsal.
Yeah.
I recommend that the board maybe refer before the approval of the design contract at the next meeting to, if there's anything they specifically want that design to include.
Will they be, are they coming?
No, but I'm saying when we.
We can send that on to.
We can stipulate
Impact.
exactly what the board is wanting inside that.
But again, generally, we have been, and I think we have been respecting our very expert committee. They've done a terrific job, and I would suggest that we, unless there's something horribly wrong, that we don't micromanage. That's why we have them. We don't want to do this.
Your service areas to go with.
Yeah.
So
We do,
the
always.
only piece that I would ask for is that there needs to be consideration, even if it's not installed, but for some level of card access.
That is in
That's
the,
in this.
that is in scope.
Jacob, could you go back to the slide where it showed the timeline? Right.
Yes.
It'll be.
So, yeah, it's planned for gated access,
Okay.
and then the restrooms, you have the ability to access from the dog park as well.
Right.
Does this accelerate, I know like B, we're using as a dump slash store shaping area.
We gotta run out of the dump.
So is this gonna accelerate the need to put space to do something else? Because I know right now we use lot B for like patio furniture or some other things right now, I think, as a staging area.
It's primarily used for mulch staging. You know, something to consider on a completely different note is that associations are this big that have landscaping contracts as large as CROA had, usually do in their contract provide a space for their landscapers, supplies and vehicles and storage of items. CROA does not, and we make sure that that's on the landscaper to do, or your main landscaper actually rents space at the storage units here for some of their vehicles and items. So temporary solution is once this is built out, any staging items will be moved to lot D.
And we've used lot D for staging previously as well.
Okay.
Any other questions? Thank you. Moving on to 30th anniversary book.
Go ahead.
If I recall, the 25th anniversary book didn't go well,
If it involves money, I don't think we should do anything.
right?
We're not like, it's not like we're wealthy right now.
And, sorry, I exceeded my time.
It's your time.
Do you just self-regulate?
I did.
It opens questions about, well, Mark, we did.
No, it's not an agenda item.
It will not make that one.
It will not become one. Teams meeting green room feature.
Yeah.
So what the heck? We're gonna put a green room in?
Cool. Snacks?
So this is just a feature in Teams that we can activate. It would allow us to start the meeting early and then not have to mute mics when the board or management's having discussion pre-meetings. And then we can let everybody in all at once. The board would be allowed to bypass the meeting room and any management staff, but it would just
Is that
put everybody in a green room.
Is that an expensive feature?
No, it's included in what we already have.
Okay.
Isn't it a meeting of a forum? Like, don't we need to notice it before the meeting?
No, this is
Just for them joining our meetings.
so instead of people triggering the recording 20 minutes early when residents
Someone
join the
logs in.
meeting and logs into the meeting, and then we have to edit it,
They would just log into the green room.
they would log into the
Wait,
green room,
wait.
and then the recording doesn't trigger until we start the meeting and let it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
As you see, we often have issues with when if we do start the meeting and we have everyone muted, we get a lot of people saying, oh, I think my IT's not working because I can't hear you.
I love
But
the
that's
green room.
because we have.
No, green rooms are great. What?
No, it violates the sunshine.
No,
If you don't allow people, us, to converse with you during that meeting time,
no, during the meeting,
It's not during the
it's not during, this is before the actual meeting starts.
but it is your forum and you're.
No, we're not, because we have not started the meeting.
But you're getting together and excluding the public.
Is the
You
public,
better check this.
If I turn my mic off, am I now violating the rule?
If you don't allow us to speak and communicate back to you, because you're privately, you're.
I would run that by the attorney. I don't think so.
I think so. I went and reviewed the Florida statute today, and I think you're
That if
right.
we put them in a green room,
If you have to get together,
yeah,
a forum prior to a public meeting, you're having a meeting. And if we're not allowed to converse back and forth with you, I think you're violating.
but we don't have a meeting before the meeting.
I'm just telling you what I think.
conceivably, it's no different.
It's a slippery slope.
When we're just.
Like it-
Congregated.
Yeah,
But,
I say you congregate.
well,
I mean, I can run it by Charlie.
Generally speaking, we don't have a quorum until like right before anyway. I mean,
Not
people
everyone.
drag in because not everyone's here. I can run about Charlie here.
You're not, I mean, you're not conducting business, so it's not a meeting of the board. It'd be like you're
So
all
like right
standing at a.
now, so the main difference would be. Well, right now, if someone's online, like at 5:50. And we're all coming in and everything like that.
And we've all got our mics off.
Yeah, and our mics are off or that's muted. And then at right now, then at 6 o'clock, everything becomes unmuted. Right? The difference would be, that muted time, there would be like a waiting
It's a
area.
recording.
It's.
Yeah, what happens if they get here early? They start the recording.
Mhm.
And we get complaints from people saying, I can't hear anything because we've got our mics muted.
Or when they go to post the meeting later, there's 20 minutes of
Of extra dead.
stuff.
Why if we just didn't start recording until 6?
We don't have the choice.
as long as we're not,
Feature.
They start it when they log in.
we're not voting on anything, and we're just,
So we were discussing,
but
action items.
but email,
But no, we're really not even discussing an action item.
According to what I read in the packet,
email.
it's an opportunity for you guys to get together and talk about, to get and everybody on board what the meeting's gonna be about. So that's a meeting.
It is?
I think so.
Is that what we do?
It's a slippery slope and you don't want to go down there.
Huh?
Charlie.
Let's run it by Charlie.
Yes.
Just run it by Charlie.
I think awareness is good.
Just run it by Charlie. If Charlie says no, then we don't do it. Charlie says yes, then we make it an action item. Spooky soiree, Lakeside Park closure.
Dory is.
Dory, do you have a recommendation for us on this?
Yes, our fall event is on Friday, October 24th. And last year we had the spooky soiree when, we had about almost 2,500 people, residents, a resident only event. We would like to make the recommendation to close the pool 2 hours early at 6 when we start the event. Just for the safety of the kids, we have most of this event is mainly family and children. And the residents like to have the restaurants open, so we'd like to have them open, but in order, if we have the pool open, then we have to have the interior doors unlocked. We want them locked, with basically the pool closed. So that they can go in there freely and a child won't or anybody else won't wander under the pool deck for any particular reason.
Yeah, it could be dangerous. That makes sense.
Dangerous. So it's for the safety of the kids. and-
Yeah, I mean, it's a one-time event. Anybody gonna have any issues with making that an action item?
No.
No, I think that's a
They
good
usually
recommendation.
close. Right?
Well, they close,
It would be a 2 hour.
it would be 2 hours earlier.
7, 8.
And we've got other pools.
Yeah,
The rest will be open.
Restrooms will be open for the party.
that's the whole point.
Yeah.
absolutely.
So the kids don't wander into the pool.
That is a board decision, that's not just a management.
Yeah,
So we're affecting them to be operating.
Yeah.
All right, so let's make that action for the next meeting. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the discussion portion of our agenda. Any other thoughts? Anybody want to move for an adjournment? Then we're adjourned. Thank you.